Hi guys, welcome back to Hair Dry Treatment. I hope you're all doing wonderfully well. Ladies and Reddy's back. We are a hat trick today. Call us Martial, as Nicole likes to say. There's three of us, but of course we've got a lot to talk about. The game was yesterday. It wasn't the most impressive game, but we are through to the semi-final, and that's all that matters really. But I'll start with you, Nicole. How are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm fine. I wasn't when I was watching that. Like, I'll take it. Don't get me wrong, but I can't be like. It's just we went from like one of the most visually pleasing games prior to that we'd had for a while to like one of the less visually pleasing games that we've had for a while.
Yeah, I think that. Look, we're through, and that's the main thing that happened. But performance-wise, we'll get into it in a minute. It wasn't up to scratch. It wasn't obviously as good as we expected. But like I say, the main thing is we got the win eventually. Meg, how are you feeling today?
I'm okay. Happy birthday to Rocco, Emma's little boy. That's why she's not here.
Happy birthday, mate.
Yeah, massive happy birthday to Rocco. Obviously, Emma's been living it up in Weymouth, so enjoying herself. Can't blame her. Zara is doing some stuff for Salford today as well, but they're both aiming to get back next week. But they're going to be trying to tune in. Hopefully, they'll be in the chat so we can interact with them as well. But there's that United family. Just as I spoke, that United family are in the chat. So make sure you go and subscribe to their channel as well, guys. But firstly, what is your thoughts on yesterday's game? Like I say, we got the win. We progressed to the semi-final. But in terms of performance, it just wasn't good enough. And I'll start with you, Meg. What did you think watching that yesterday?
You hit the nail on the head. It wasn't good enough at all. And there was obviously a lot of changes, and I think they weren't a shock to anybody. The only one I was shocked by was that Shaw started. I was sure that Brandon Williams was going to start. I was adamant that he would have started that game. He hadn't played any minutes since Project Restart had started. So I just think that it was an audition for some of those players, and they did not perform yesterday. But we lacked chemistry going forward. The football wasn't fluid. It was slow. It just wasn't coming off at all. Would I have changed it? No, because I think players that needed that time on the pitch. I think players needed a rest as well. But it just wasn't what I expected. I thought they would have come out all guns blazing. Like they would have tried. They obviously did try. That's wrong for me to say, but it just didn't work. It wasn't. It wasn't fluid, and I just thought it lacked that kind of spark. It needed somebody to just grab it by the scruff of the neck, put their stamp on it, and it didn't happen. Fair enough. Harry Maguire, I thought he had a cracking performance yesterday. As I said, our centre half, I loved that block in the first half. That's like scoring a goal. And then he went and topped it off by scoring the winner, didn't he? So fair play to Harry Maguire, but I just think first half, 2-star performance, really.
Yeah, I think a lot of changes. I know people gave Ollie a bit of stick saying there was too many changes that were made for that game. I think it was 8 changes in total. It was a lot of changes, but at the same time, I agree with you, Meg. I think players were given a chance yesterday to prove their point, to show that they deserve a spot in the first team, they deserve a spot in the first 11, and they didn't take the chance. If you have to be totally honest about it, I think Boye had a rocky start, and I think he grew into the game as the game went on. But that's probably the only player I can say who actually probably deserved his chance yesterday and took it. But Lingard and a few other players I mentioned in my fan cam on the United stand, Lingard I think looks really low on confidence, and I think if anybody is going to get the best out of him, it's going to be Bruno and Pogba. If he's playing in the team with them two, surely you're going to get chances, and I'm just hoping that he can get some confidence from somewhere, because at the moment it's just looking like a downward spiral for him at United. It really is, and I hate to say that because of course I want to get the best out of our players, including Jesse Lingard. But it was disappointing yesterday. I think Bruno looked tired as well, if I'm honest. I think he had a sloppy game. His worst game in the United shirt, definitely. But at the same time, he's still our most creative player. Creative players take risks. They're bound to give the ball away more than other players. And I think
on the other hand, so about Bruno, it makes you think, doesn't it, that we've relied on him a little bit too much, because when he's not 100%, we're not 100%.
I'm not about seeing this. The people aren't like, Twitter is so easy to just criticise. He had a bad game. Sorry, the man's played every minute since we came back. He had a bad game doesn't mean that he has become, he was here and everyone thinks he's now Eric Djemba performance, but
not everybody.
I'm fed up of seeing it. He is going to give the ball away. He is an attacking creative midfielder. He has to try things. If he's doing it as a centre half, yes, you can criticise him because that's not what you want from your centre half. You don't want him to try things when he's in a defensive half. But whilst you're attacking and whilst you're at that end of the pitch, try things. It's not going to come off fine. Yes, if you try 3 things and all 3 come off, perfect. If one comes off and you score from it, you're still talking about the one that comes off. So for me, I'm fed up of seeing people attacking him. It's really
I'm trying to reply to Zazie there. We're not criticising Bruno. We're criticising the people who are putting slander on Bruno's name. But we saw yesterday. Bruno didn't play well yesterday. Everybody's entitled to an off game, and that's what happened yesterday.
Yeah.
He's entitled to have an off game. And at the end of the day, he's playing with players who we've already mentioned didn't see him up for the fight yesterday at all as well. Can't do it all on his own. And that one moment of magic got one of their players sent off, that little flick. And that's why you always put your trust in Bruno, because he's got that bit of magic in his game. He had the most shots out of anyone yesterday. Yes, most of them hit Rose Ed, but he's still trying to make something happen. And I think you can't get on someone's back when they're trying to make something happen. It's more when they're playing it too safe, playing sideways and not implicating anything in the game. That's when you get on someone's back. But Bruno was trying to make stuff happen, and I do think he looked shattered. But even into extra time, we saw him chasing Jamal Lewis back in his own half and nicking the ball back. That's what you love about Bruno, and people don't notice that. People are so quick to jump on players' backs, and it's just not the time to do it. But Nicole, what did you think watching that yesterday? How did you feel? And like I say, do you think that we were lucky to get through in the end?
I think we rode our luck, definitely, but I think that's what these cup competitions are all about. And I think these kind of games, not just this season in general, are the difference. Not saying that we're going to win it, but these are the difference between like winners and losers. And like, it's easy to look back with rose-tinted specs and everything, but we had these kind of games under Fergie, and sometimes it's not about how you do it; it's just about getting to the next stage, which is now the semi-final, which is the main thing. Talking about Bruno as well, as you were saying, at his worst so far for us is still better than most. Do you know what I mean? I would rather someone take risks and go forward and try and get the ball in the final third rather than not try and do anything. I'd rather him get, like Meg said, 1 out of 3 than 0 out of 0.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
And let's say the sign of a good team is a team who can still win when they're not particularly playing well. And that's what we did yesterday. And I think that we were resilient. We kept pushing. When Pogba came on, and I think Martial looked really sharp when he came on as well. I don't know if you girls agree with me, but I think Martial, you can tell that hat-trick's done him some good in the week, because he looked buzzing when he came on. And I think him and Pogba coming on, I think they did lift us a little bit. And let's face it wasn't our best 11. Of course it wasn't. There were players there who simply aren't good enough for United. And I'm not going to name names because I don't like to do that, but we all know who they are. But I just think that we got the win yesterday. That's the most important thing. The thing that I was more concerned about is that our players aren't too fatigued playing on Tuesday against, obviously, Brighton. That's the thing that worried me. Going into extra time was the last thing that we needed, wasn't it, Meg?
It was, and I think what Ollie's plan must have been was, we'll put this second choice out, and they were second choice players. Let's face it, it's not our first team, and hopefully they get it wrapped up. And if we have to rely on Pogba coming on or players coming on, then we'll do that. We had to rely on them, and we had to go to extra time, which is probably the worst scenario that he could have thought of, really. But to be honest, I'm glad that the other players have had their opportunity. I'm glad that he's been able to rest some. Because, like I said, I am so surprised Shaw started, because against Sheffield, towards the end, he was bent over. You could see him heavy breathing. I thought he needs a rest. Like, he looks like he is shattered. Lindelof's now had a rest. Baye's come on. I know, Williams did get some minutes. Wan-Bissaka's been rested. So I think all these players that are our first choice have had time to recover a little bit more. So whilst the performance, and it's not how we wanted to win the game at all, actually it might have done us a little bit good going back into the Premier League. At the end of the day, we are through. So you just got to take that on now. Look back at the Premier League. It's the time for the next game already. You can't dwell on what's just happened.
Yeah, Alex says people criticising Ollie for making so many changes are silly with so many fixtures to play in such a short space of time. He needed to rest players. I completely agree. I think you can't blame Ollie for making changes. You have to blame the players for not stepping up and taking the chance when it was given to them. But at the same time, them players who played yesterday haven't played for like 3 months. We said for the team that played against Spurs, you had the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, you could
it was
tell.
like going back to the first game against Spurs. It was that kind of like, you can tell that they wasn't gelled.
Yeah, thank you, Alex, for the super chat. And then Abul says we all love Igalo, don't we? We do love Igalo. You can't not love Igolo, as I like to call him.
I love
you
that
can't not
name,
love
by
him.
the way.
Yeah, you can't not love the guy. He scored again yesterday. I don't think he played amazingly yesterday, but I think his hold up play is something that we really lack, and I think that he gives us that different option. But Brandon Williams should have started yesterday, says Daniel. What's your take on that? I thought Williams, when he came on, Brandon James, as Meg likes to call him, I thought he came on yesterday and I thought he was decent. Nicole, what did you think about Brandon when he came on?
I agree with you, first of all, that I was expecting Shaw to be rested and Williams to start, but then I thought maybe Ole's doing it the other way around, where he's going to start against Brighton. And he came on, he did his job, and it was all right. I think going back to Ole, like, he can't win when it comes to like squad rotation, resting players or playing them, because he had this thing of, we've had previously, why didn't you start this player? And then you also have it the other way around of why have you started him, or why haven't you started? Do you know what I mean? He can't really win. I think, however much at half time yesterday I was like, oh, let's get another boy band on. I was semi-joking, but however much I said that, I kind of respected Ole in a way for, like, no, he stuck to his guns. He said whatever he said at half time, and nothing magic happened, but it obviously worked because it got us there at the end. So I feel like he can't really win either way, and you've just got to take it for what it is.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that there's two types of manager. You've got the manager who'll put the best 11 out. They'll get a few early goals, get the game done, and then bring, obviously, the reserve players on, if you like, and just save the main players. And Ollie did it the other way yesterday. He played players from the start and hoped that look, if you're looking at the name on the team sheet and you're looking at the quality of the team had it yesterday, that team should be good enough and strong enough to beat Norwich. No doubt about it. And I think it just underlines that there is a mentality issue, especially with certain players. We've said it for a while now. And like I say, yesterday they had a big chance to take and prove a point, really. And it just wasn't taken. Hello to Mini Football Ashes. Hello to Soph, Meg and Nicole. I hope you're doing well. But yeah, Meg, in terms of top four now, we're going to, obviously, yesterday's done, dusted. We move on. We've got Brighton next game. Chelsea, a massive win the other day against City. And that's all I'm going to mention about that game, because you know what happened after.
You had one job, Sitter.
Yeah, one job. But yeah, Mendy, I tweeted ages ago, how is he a footballer? I'll stick by that. But yeah, Meg, Chelsea are flying at the minute as well. Do you think that top four is a possibility for us? If we look at the games we've got left, we've got Brighton, Bournemouth, Villa, Southampton, Palace, West Ham and Leicester. So most teams would say that's a decent running. To teams like us who struggle to break teams down when they put players behind the ball, I'm not so confident that it's an easy running. What's your take on it? Do you think they'll make top four?
When we did our predictions, I said that we would get fourth spot, and I stick by that. The only issue that we have is the fact that we could win our entire list of fixtures until the end of the season, and we still might not get fourth. So it's not in our hands anymore. The fact is, throughout the whole of the season, we should have picked up points prior to now. We shouldn't be relying on these last few games. If Chelsea and Leicester go on and win their games, I know we've got Leicester at the end, and even if we win that, if they've already won the rest of their games, we won't go in front of them because they're still points ahead of us. So yes, I think we'll get top four, but we have to now rely on someone else losing points, regardless of whether if we win or not. I think the running that we've got, I still think it'll come down to that last game. I think the Leicester game is going to be huge. But I do just feel like the rest of the games we will get points off them. But it's just unfortunate that now we're in a position where we have got to hope that other teams drop points. I know Chelsea have got a little bit of a harder run in. They've got to play a few teams that are, I think, have they got Liverpool? I think have they got Liverpool? They've got Wolves. And I think that's going to be a huge game for who comes fourth. So yeah, we are relying on other teams now, but I do think we'll get it. I still think we'll get fourth spot.
I think Leicester looks to be a bit sloppy since they've come back. Leicester obviously were flying earlier in the season, but I think that they're not quite at good form, and I think they're the most likely to drop points at the minute. Wolves are a massive worry for me. As you know, my dad is a massive Wolves fan. He has not shut up about it, and I cannot bear the thought of them getting Champions League over us. So on a personal note, I'm just begging that some teams are going to drop points. But I think that, look, you've just got to focus on yourselves. You've just got to focus on our games, take it a game at a time, win all our games, focus on us first, and hopefully someone else drops points. But we can't be relying on them. I think we just got to do our business. If we play like we did yesterday, we will not get top four. I'd say that now. We will not get top four. You can't play like that. We need to be up for every game. Every game has got to be treated a bit like a final there for us, because I think Brighton is not an easy game. They beat Arsenal the other day, which you say, yeah, is no great achievement, but they beat Arsenal the other day. They're not going to be an easy game, and I think it's going to be interesting, which is why I'm saying I hope that we're not too fatigued after what happened yesterday. But Nicole, do you think we'll get top four? Do you think Champions League is ours next season?
I do. Like Meg says, it's not guaranteed, but like you said, Soph, we just have to focus one game at a time, and we need to look forward and not back, especially not back to yesterday. I think, and I know another thing is, on paper, however easy games look, it doesn't always translate that way. Yesterday, I was like, oh, we'll smash this 4-0. It didn't happen. So, do you know what I mean? My point is that we can't focus on other teams now. The inevitable has happened, and that is all I will ever say, and I will never congratulate anyone. The inevitable has happened, so we cannot concentrate on other teams. I've already forgot. Mind, like I said, we have to focus on ourselves and ourselves alone, like mentally, regardless of who's playing, to give it their all, and just to enjoy it, really, because I didn't enjoy it yesterday, and I'll take it, but I want to enjoy it. We've been waiting for football to come back. It's already for me not 100% as it should be. So I just want it the best that we can do, and at least we can go out on a high and say, do you know what? We give it our everything. I said third a few weeks ago. Was it a few weeks ago? I can't keep up. But I'm not as enthusiastic now. But I think we might just pivot to the post.
Yeah, I think yesterday I completely agree with you. Watching that, it was not enjoyable at all. I was shouting at the TV, getting really agitated with everyone, and with every player. I was getting so agitated, and I was thinking that it reminded me of the form we had. Was it like before Christmas when we lost to to Burnley? And there was just too many safe passes, passing sideways, so slow, so lethargic. Nobody wanted to take a risk. Bruno was trying to take a risk, but it just wasn't coming off for him. And I think it was just a frustrating game, which is why I'm saying the win was more important yesterday. Yes, we had to go into extra time, and nobody ideally wanted to do that. Norwich in particular wouldn't want to do that. They're fighting to stay up, and they need a miracle to stay up. But I do think Norwich can take some positives from that performance yesterday as well. I think they look quite threatening on the attack against us. I think, all in all, the win was most important. But like I say, if we play like that, we need to snap out of that quickly, because if we play like that, we will not get top four. And I think that's the worrying thing, that we saw glimpses of that form before Christmas when we lost quite a few games. We don't want to see that. But I'm just hoping that it was because of the nature of the fact that Odin made a lot of changes, mixed it up. I think if you have a consistent midfield like Matic, Bruno and Pogba, if we stick to that consistent, then I think that that'll be good enough to take us through. But like I say, I am concerned about Wolves as well. Saw it again the other day. Adama Traore comes on. He is literally a cheat code. That guy coming on against tired legs, he transforms the game. And Dan James probably is our player who is like that, but he obviously hasn't been as effective. Do you think Dan James could be that mould of player, though, that you bring on off the bench to just run at players and make stuff happen, Meg? Do you think Dan James can be that guy?
I think if you're going to compare him to Traore, he needs to bulk up a little bit. He's very dainty, and I think
apparently he doesn't do weights, by the way. Traore said he does not do weights.
Oh.
Yeah.
Blessed like that then. But fair enough. He has got power and speed and strength. He is an all-rounder in those, isn't he? Like he's got a ridiculous pace. So I just think if you're going to play Dan James like that, you need him to be a little bit more physical against players as well. Almost like Traore bullies.
He's light, isn't he? He's lightweight. Yeah.
And Traore bullies them. Dan James is almost looking sometimes for a free kick.
I'm not laughing at you, man.
It's probably right. It's probably right, that, to be fair. You know, so, says he lifts cars, not weights.
I think if Dan James is going to become one of those players, he needs to have that about his game as well. Not only, like, we talked about Martial the other day, where he just breezes past defenders. He brushes them off. I don't see that from Dan James. Traore does it. He can literally brush players off. So if you're going to get someone to run at players, you need them to be able to hold them off as well. And for me, Dan James can't do that.
Yeah, I agree. I think his physique is something different. But if I'm honest, I've never seen a player as strong and as fast as Adama Traore. I've never seen anyone like that in my life. He's an absolute machine. And Nuno, as I've mentioned, I think he's done wonders with him. And it says yesterday's performance was poor, but it wasn't our first choice 11. If we're able to continue to play our first choice 11 in the league, we'll get top 4. Yeah, it's just about being consistent. I think the changes yesterday just made it disjointed. You could tell that players hadn't played in a long time. A lot of players for me didn't step up to the plate when they were called upon. What's your take on Mata, ladies? Because obviously it's very mixed. I love Juan Mata as a guy. Absolutely love him. I feel sorry for him in the United shirt because I think he's been forced out wide far too often. I think he's more of that 10 player and we haven't played him in his best position. But do you think he's losing his legs a bit now? Is he getting on? Do you think it's time maybe to allow the likes of Chong, Angel Gomez to take the reins? Nicole, I'll start with you. What's your take on Juan Mata?
Like you said, it's unfair in a way to him because he's not been in his best position. But at the same time, I've always said with Mata, his speed's in his mind. Like talking about Daniel James a minute ago, I think he's the other way around. He's got the speed and the pace, but it's his mind that needs to develop. Mata is still got something in him, but should he be a United player for much longer and be starting and playing games? I'd probably say no. And that's someone that loves him to bits. I just mean looking forward. Yeah. And I think from Ole's perspective, I think Ole is very much looking long term at getting big signings in, but also developing the youth. And I don't think that fits in with his progression, if that makes sense. But that's not still to say that he still hasn't got the quality. He's still a very intelligent player. He's just obviously his legs are going on him a bit, and he isn't the same young guy that landed on his helicopter, bless him.
Yeah, Neil says Mata is not good enough for us. I don't know if it's a case of him not being good enough. I just don't know if his body allows him to do it anymore. I just think he's never been a quick player, and he's always had that extra yard in his head, Mata, which is why I think he's such a good player, because he's so intelligent. He's got the best first touch other than Berbatov I've probably seen from a footballer. Like, he's ridiculous. And like you say, I love the guy, but should he really be starting teams now? I'm not so sure that is the case. Meg, what's your take on Juan Mata?
I completely agree with what you both have said. I feel like we've got this like sentimental feeling with Mata. We all like him. He's not a horrible person. And if you ask the majority of fans, if you ask him for who are the players you just like, Mata will probably be up there. And I think that almost goes against what you want to say, because for me, he is, or he has been, quality, but I don't think he's there at the level and the standard that we are looking at, and for the team that we are trying to develop. I don't think he perhaps fits in there anymore. But it's really hard to say, because he's not. I don't want it to go sour for him, because he's been like everyone says, he is a nice person, and like just his characteristics that he comes across. But for me, I don't see him influencing the game as he used to.
Yeah, I think Mata is one of those players who's good to keep around for his experience. Obviously, he's played at the top level for a long, long time. It just seems good for the dressing room. He seems like the kind of guy who will get on with everybody.
Influence on the other players.
And I think
you need players like that as well around the squad, especially like if you want to bring the youth in. But I'm not quite sure perhaps whether he should be. He definitely should be starting. Definitely should be starting.
Should not start. Yeah, I think if you keep him, he's maybe a player that you bring on when the game's already done. He's a good player, like you said, to keep around, and good for squad morale, good for his experience. But should he be starting ahead of the likes of Chong, ahead of Gomez, players they've got a long future ahead of them at United, hopefully. I don't know if he should be starting, but it's a hard one, because sentimentally you do like Juan Mata, like you say, and I think that for the majority of his United career, he's been played out of position. I really do. I think if we would have played him more centrally, I think we'd have got more out of him. And I feel for him in that sense. But he's an ultimate professional.
And I feel like he's one of them players that no matter who he plays for, you can't help but like him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Agree. Yeah.
He's not an offensive player, is like in terms of like off the pitch. He's not offensive. He doesn't really offend anybody. And I think that's why it's so difficult, because, like I said, you need those players, but also it's sometimes quite easy when people get towards the end. If footballers get very stroppy about wanting to play, don't they? Like, you've seen it. People refuse to play. They can literally just turn on their own team. And you would never get that from Mata, and that's why it's quite difficult. But I do feel like he has a place at United, but it's not in the first 11.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I'm not saying bin him off, get rid. Like you said, I don't want it to turn sour. but he should not be starting for me. Good question here from Zazie. He says, can Lingard get back to his best again? Nicole, do you think he can?
It's frustrating to say because I still think of him, and I think a lot of people still think of him as a lot younger than what he is. So you want to say, yeah, he's still got it in it, but then I realise I think he's older than me. So I'm thinking probably not. With all due respect, I think I just can't see long term. Like Meg was saying before about players getting the chance to prove themselves yesterday. I just don't think he did that, and I know you can't expect too much too soon. But with all 27, yeah. So I'm 27 this year, so he's older than me, and I still think of him as that little young player. Sorry, I got distracted. But yeah,
Do you think
I don't.
Pogba and Bruno could help him though? Do you think Pogba and Bruno could maybe help to get the best out of him with their creative style?
If anyone can, it's what I'd say is if they can, then the answer is definitely no. But at the same time, I don't wish him no harm, and I think he gets a lot more stick than he deserves personally, as opposed to professionally. I will say that, and credit to him for dusting his shoulders that and always carrying on, because I think he spoke about his mental troubles in the past and stuff like that, and how he's overcome that. And obviously he's a father now, he's got a child, and I don't think people consider that when they're speaking about him. So do I think we're going to see him at his best? Probably not. But do I wish him any harm? No.
Yeah, I mean, he did that one little mad run yesterday, did he? When he did the little roll and he almost worked his way and he got a
That's
shot
when
away.
I said he was living his best life with his moustache.
Yeah, yeah, that was it.
Yes.
But I think that he hasn't been consistent. He hasn't influenced games enough, especially when he's been playing in the 10. Obviously, he's meant to score and assist goals. He wasn't getting any of them. Like you say, if anybody can get the best out of him, I would like to think it's Pogba and Bruno. But I feel like it's a downward spiral for Jesse at the minute. It seems like his confidence is in the gutter. I'm just hoping that we can get a lift. I think a goal would do him some good, to be honest with you, and hopefully get a lift. But Meg, what's your take on Jesse Lingard? Do you think he can get back to his best?
I don't think he'll ever get back to his best because that was his prime, and I don't think he's at his prime anymore. So I don't think we'll get that from him, and I'm also not expecting that from him either. And I think that's what people think. He had such an incline on the rise, and he's come crashing back down again that people just think he can just go straight back up there. And I think for me that's where the issue lies. People expect so much from him. But I don't see him ever getting back to his prime in terms of performance, his peak performances. But I also feel that people attack him personally as well. I think
because of the dancing and stuff, isn't it?
But that's his character, and this is the thing I will never get about. You have different characters in a team, and as long as they go out on a pitch and they perform, then they, as a character and as a person, that's who they are. They don't need to be trolled for it. They don't need to be attacked by it. And I think with Jesse, that's his character, and some people can't quite get it. That's fine. But I don't think we'll ever get him back to his best. But he also doesn't need to be attacked.
Yeah.
Personally, he's still a professional. He's still playing football.
Yeah. There's always a difference between going in on a player and being personal and having an agenda and hating and then criticising their performance. There's a clear difference for me. Like when I used to criticise Pogba's performance and people used to get on my back, and I'd be like, look, I'm just saying what I see. And then if someone deserves praise, you praise them. And I think that some fans just can't do that. Like it's all out of
credit where credit is due.
Of course, exactly. And that's my motto. That's why I stick by. But Jesse Lingard, of course, I hope it turns out for him. I think there is definitely a player in there. I've always said I could see him going to like a mid-table team, maybe somewhere like Everton or somewhere like that. But he shouldn't be starting for Manchester United. A bit like the Mata thing, he shouldn't be starting. Squad player, yes. Starter, no. And I just don't want him to hold back the younger players who are coming through the ranks now, to be honest with you. But thank you so much to Dugout. He's given us a super chat. Hello, ladies. Summed up perfectly. A win is a win. Still think United will get top 4. Chelsea still have Liverpool and Wolves to come. Leicester City have 4 wins in the last 15 Premier League games, so they can be caught. Love that from Doug. That's knowing you need some facts just to make you feel a bit better.
Doug pops up.
Give it to us. Yeah, he's just giving it to us. Yeah, I think it's still doable. And like someone mentioned earlier, we could get third. I think Leicester are going to drop more points, but we've still got to play them. But look, we're not going to get anywhere near it unless we take it one game at a time. Treat teams with respect. And like I say, we need to be better than we were yesterday. No doubt about it. But Ollie will know that. He's not stupid. You know what I mean? It wasn't our best 11. I think far too many people were jumping on the bandwagon thinking, oh, United have gone backwards again. That was a reserve team that we played there yesterday, a team that haven't played together. I think it's hard to jump on it. Of course, it was depressing to watch and it was frustrating. I was pulling my hair out at times, honestly. Didn't even curl my hair. This is just from me grabbing it, honestly. I'm joking. But it was just frustrating. But it's one game at a time. We can still do it. It's just easy, isn't it, to feel so negative because of what we've been through, especially before Christmas. It's easy to think, oh, no, it's coming back again. But I don't think it is. Bruno, do you think he deserves a bit of a rest? Would you have started him yesterday? I think that's another interesting one because he looked tired, in my opinion. Meg, was he right to start Bruno?
I mean, if you look at on hindsight, you look at it and you think, yeah, he was right because he was probably, even though he didn't play his best, he was still someone who was creating. But I probably wouldn't have started him. I think again, he is a player that has played every single minute, and I think you can see that he was starting to get a little bit tired. Although you look at him tracking back in the second half, in 3 minutes before we scored, I think it was, he's sprinting, to track back. So he's still got it in him, but I perhaps would have rested him. I think you need to, in this Project Restart, use your rotation of squad, and I think we brought Pogba on, we brought Martial on. Perhaps he could be a player that could have come on. But again, in hindsight, it's probably wise that we did start him just to try and create something.
Yeah, I think it's awkward. I'm not criticising Ollie yet, but I'm always the belief that you get the game done and then you rest players. So I would have started probably a strong team yesterday, and maybe first half, once the game is done, take them off. And like you say, you can change half of the team ultimately, can't you? So bring 5 players on, bring your boy band on at half time and rest your key players. That's the way I would always do it. But obviously, if Ollie, to be fair to him, like Nicole said earlier, he stuck to his guns. He gave players a chance yesterday. At half time, he could have easily fetched them off. He didn't. He gave them extra time. I'm guessing he spoke to them at half time and said, look, you've got to sort it out because he's not good enough. And we didn't really see much of a reaction after half time, did we? And I think the changes did influence it. But overall, it just underlies to me that the squad depth isn't good enough. And I'm hoping that we can start to get more quality players in and build that squad depth up. But at the moment, it just shows you what Ollie has got to work with, doesn't it? In terms of beyond the first 11, there's not a lot of quality to choose from there. But that leads on to the next topic that I want to talk about. Liverpool, we know obviously about their quality. If we're being honest with ourselves, how far off, how many players off do you think we are from competing again and getting those top spots? And I'll start with you, Meg. How far off do you think we are?
I think if we strengthen a little bit, we are not that far off. If you look at the way that we played against Sheffield, if we can consistently perform like that, I don't feel like we're that far off. But then you flip it and you say, well, then we don't perform on certain games. And then it's with Liverpool and the likes of Man City, even when they don't play well, they grind out results. And we can't do that until we learn to grind out results against teams that put or sit back against us. We won't go any further than where we are in the table. So I don't think we're that far off, but we have to be better against the lower teams, against teams that just going to sit in and put the block behind the ball and say, okay, you can try and attack us. Liverpool, they are good, aren't they? But look at the players that we have and look at the way that they played and the attack that we had the other day. Like I said, if you can replicate that throughout the season, you will pick up points. It's being able to do it consistently. Someone just put one word: consistency. It's about being consistent and doing that against all the teams. And like I said, grinding out results as well and grinding out 3 points.
Yeah, I think there's still a long way for us to go, but I think we moved in the right direction, and I think that's the most important thing for a bit, especially last season. I was looking and I was thinking we're moving further away. The gap's getting bigger and bigger. And I do feel like now we're reducing that gap. I feel like bringing like Bruno in, hopefully Pogba signs a new deal, which I think would be great news.
That would be such a boost.
Yeah, we're narrowing that gap, and if Ollie can obviously get the likes of Sancho in the summer, then we're closing that gap even more. But I still think we're a few players off. I think we need to.
But not 30 years off.
No, not 30 years off. Completely agree with that. Love that. I love you got that.
It depends how far you think far is. Do you know what I mean? How long's a piece of string? Like when you say how, I don't feel like we are 30 years off at all. I also don't feel like perhaps
It's
it'll be
instant.
next week. Yeah, it's not going to be instant either. But I do feel that the way that we are developing, if you look, 3 seasons ago, I'd have been like, the gap is huge. But now I don't feel it is. So we've already made progress.
Yeah. That's it. It's like baby steps, isn't it? We're narrowing that gap. It's getting smaller. We're catching up now with the likes of City. I think you saw City's this season. They didn't replace Company. It just shows how important it is that you recruit the right players. City didn't do that, and that's just one player. They massively missed him, and I think it just shows that if we can get the right players in, I think Ollie's signings so far have been superb. I'm just hoping we can continue with that. I think Sancho will be a great addition. Someone mentioned there a centre back as well. I agree with that. I think if we can get a consistent partner for Maguire, then again, I think that stands us in good stead. But what do you guys think about that? Do you think that we need to sign another centre back, or do you believe that Lindelof, Tuanzebe, Boye, that rotation there is good enough? I'll start with you, Nicole. What do you think about that?
It's a tricky one because I've been like for the past few weeks being like buy, and don't get me wrong, he was probably one of the best players on the pitch yesterday.
He grew into it, yeah.
But it slowly. But at the same time, there's still a bit of a question mark. And I think I read yesterday, I think it was Phil Neville said that he personally believes we are one centre back away from challenging and looking at the likes of Liverpool, like the difference like Van Dijk made there, things like that. And so I do kind of echo that we have the youth option, we have Baye, we have Lindelof, but I still don't think it's concrete. I still don't think it's that partnership where you can rely on and you can depend on and you can go, it. That's a united partnership. So I don't think there's any harm in looking.
Yeah. Can I just mention as well? I just remembered it briefly. Did anyone see Boye's dive yesterday?
Yeah, that's what I was. I was like, come on, man! I've been vouching for you. What are you doing?
He got a free kick, to be fair. He bought it. I don't know why the ref fell for that, but yeah, Boy's just a madman, isn't he? But I agree. I think we need a consistent partner for Maguire. I still think we need that right winger though, a bit more of an attacking threat. I think we need more than one player, maybe even a CDM. But Matic at the moment is obviously the guy that I think Ollie prefers in that role because he's disciplined.
But we won't have him long term, will we?
Exactly.
So we have to.
Yeah. Is McTominay going to be the guy who slots right in there? I think we're yet to see. But in terms of playing that role right now, I think Matic is definitely the most trusted player in that holding position. But in centre-backs, a lot of people are saying Koulibaly, they'd like him to come. Varane, as someone just said there. So I would love Varane at United. When we were linked with him a few seasons ago, I was so excited. And I knew it wasn't going to happen, but the idea of Varane coming to United, I would love. But Meg, what's your take? Do you think we need another centre-back to partner Maguire? Or have we got enough within our squad? Bear in mind, Smalling could come back still. I doubt it, but he could still come back. Have we got enough?
If you look at Liverpool with Van Dijk, they have changed his partner, so they haven't had a consistent partner. They have changed his partner. So I think when you talk about ours, Harry Maguire seems to be the one that we say, okay, he is the player that we are going to play, and we're going to put somebody next to him. So if you happen to fall upon the right person, for me, Liverpool fell upon the right person when they signed Van Dijk. That's won them the Premier League. For me, if you want to win a Premier League or if you want to win a title, you have to have good defenders. You can have the amazing forward, but you have to have good defenders. You have to have world-class defenders as well. And they had that in Van Dijk, but they haven't had a solid centre-back partnership throughout the whole season. So do we need one as well? Do we need to say, right, we need a world-class centre-back? And is Harry Maguire that person? He's probably our best English centre-back. And yeah, I agree with you, he has improved us. But when you look at the Van Dijk and you're saying they're the two players that you would compare from Liverpool to Man United, they're the ones that you're saying will 100% probably start in defence. Do we have the same strength as in that position? And I don't think we do.
I think with Maguire, whoever's the side of him needs to have pace. Whether that is Boye's pace, Tuanzebe's pace, whoever is the side of him needs to be quick because Maguire, that is in his game, he's too slow. We saw it against Spurs. Players can just bypass him, he's slow. However, in the air, he's really strong. I think yesterday it showed in the air, he won most things. And I think that when the ball comes into a striker's feet, he's so good at nicking in front and bringing the ball out from the back. But I do think he needs a quality, consistent partner. Koulibaly, I would be happy with, but like I say, whoever it is needs to be quick in my
He's
opinion.
being linked with Liverpool as well.
Yeah, saying that.
But Neil said there it would buy Koulibaly, Ndidi, and Sancho. If that happened, and obviously we're talking now like if, not saying it's going to happen, but if that did happen, would you be happy with that as a transfer window? Is that enough?
I think you wouldn't get more than that.
Ollie was talking about financial.
I was going to say, in this window that's going to come up, I don't even know when it's going to, like, how it's going to work out. I don't feel like you'll get any more than that because of what. Because, and that's because of everything that's been going on. That's just the situation that you find yourself in.
David there says Johnny Evans is a good shout. Johnny Evans obviously is at Leicester now. He's doing great at Leicester now. I wouldn't have him back now, no. But do you think that we regret letting Johnny Evans go when we did? That's an interesting topic. I don't think I've ever spoken about Johnny Evans on my channel. But Meg, I'll start with you as a centre back. Was Johnny Evans a loss when we let him go?
No. I don't. I know. I would not have it. Like, I think we're talking about world class centre backs. Johnny Evans, I don't put him in the same category. So for me, no. I think we were going to talk about a world class centre back. If you're going to say about English centre backs or like I said, I think Harry Maguire is our best option, but I don't think, and I think we need a world class centre back next to him. I don't see Johnny Evans being that person.
Andrew said there, Bolly at Wolves is very good, Nicole. He's a quality player, I'll be honest. Obviously, I see quite a lot of Willy Bolly. My dad raved about him, thinks he's one of the best defenders in the league. But again, if Wolves get Champions League football, why on earth would Bolly want to come to us? I think that's the predicament we're in at the minute. When you look out there, how many world-class centre-backs are there who are achievable for us to get? And Koulibaly, obviously, is one that's been linked with us a lot, been linked with other clubs as well. But someone else put Tyrone Mings as well. Personally, I think Mings is a bit overrated. I like him, and he's playing in a very poor team. But is he good enough to come to United? I'm not certain he is, if I'm totally honest. But I'll wait and see on that one. But Villa's defence this season hasn't filled me with much confidence, to be honest with you. But talking about centre-backs, look, I think we need to get someone who's quick. I think that's the most important thing. We need someone who's fast, someone who is going to be a consistent partner. Does it have to be a world-class name? I'm thinking about Leicester. Wolves are another one where they never seem to miss a trick when they're recruiting players. They got rid of Maguire. They bought Lord Farquaad in to replace him. And he's just gone from strength to strength. That is a player who, bear in mind, wasn't even starting for the club he was at before Leicester. It just shows that we need a good scout. We need good, obviously, recruitment. It doesn't have to be a big name, does it, really, who we signed? Because Koulibaly is the big name that's been stated about. Does it have to be a big name to make it successful? I don't think it does, Nicole, do you?
I don't. I think they have to have star quality or develop into a big name, but I think it's more like going back to like the Fergie era. That it was all, the scouting was always on point, and they got them at the right time. And to echo what Meg was just saying about Johnny Evans, I think we need to look forward and not back. And I think it's about getting players at the right time. And on the other side of things, we've sometimes gone out and got them big names in other positions, and it hasn't worked out. So it doesn't always work. And in terms of looking ahead as well, talking to Fergie, he always said, "Attack wins your games, defense wins your titles." So I do agree that it's just how we go about it. And I think the bare minimum this season, if like financial allow it, is that we'll get Sancho in, hopefully. I'm being really optimistic. And then, like Megan said, I think them other three would be the maximum, because I think it's going to be interesting to see like the financial implications of everything that's been going on.
Yeah.
We United were one of the richest teams, but on the other side, we've also lost a lot of revenue because of it. People haven't been able to come to the museum. People haven't been coming to game. Do you know what I mean? So we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We can only wait and see.
I completely agree with you. See what people are saying in the chat. So Michael says our scouting needs to improve. Thiago Silva is obviously going to be leaving PSG at the end of the season on a free. Would you take him at United? I know he's been linked with Arsenal as well. I saw AFTV tweeted it a few weeks back. Silva at United. For me, I think he's too old now. I think we need to move away from signing ready-made names. I don't think that's the way to go. I think you need to get an up-and-coming player. A long-term signing is what I've been looking at. But he's experienced. I think he's a good defender, don't get me wrong. Could he be a good sort of stopgap, a bit of a fill just whilst we're trying to get the right player? Would you take him at United? I'll start with you, Meg, again. Do you think Silva is a good option?
I think he's too old. I feel like it'd be like a bit of a second-class Zlatan move, when we just had him for a season. And,
yeah.
I mean, when we had Zlatan, I thought, oh, he'd pay more, but more than what he did. But I wouldn't take him. Like I said, I think we need to get players who are at the right age and or are about to develop into such a good player. You mentioned Mings. I would give him another season to see kind of where he goes. Is he gonna go up? Is he gonna be a rising star, or is he just gonna sink? And so I think no for Thiago Silva.
Yeah, I mean, Nicole, do you echo that, or would you take him?
Yeah, I pretty much echo what Meg says, because if we say, like, hypothetically we're going to put players in for a stopgap, I think we're just going to end up back where we are now, where we're nearly there, but we're not quite there. We need to look for longevity as opposed to, like, Speedy hasn't worked post Sir Alex Ferguson area, or getting players in and trying to do things instantly doesn't work. And that's another reason why I say to people, like, Ollie out because he's not won anything yet or anything. I don't think it's about that. I think it's about looking long term, because we've seen it with management. Get a management out, get another one in. It doesn't work. You have to look forward, and you have to see it as a whole, as opposed to just an instant improvement. I don't think it works like that anymore.
Yeah, I think when Ollie's signing so far, you look at them like Wan-Bissaka, fairly young, Maguire, fairly young still, got a decent few years left, obviously, his career. But yeah, Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Dan James, young and upcoming. Bruno, one of the best young, not young as in like up and coming talents, but one of the young players still around, and who's going to be at United, I'm hoping, for a long time. So you look at the profile of players he's been signing; they are long-term signings, not like the likes of Zlatan, who came in just to fill a gap for a few seasons and then move on. He's looking at long-term signings, which is what I'm saying. I think that we need players who are going to be at United for a long time, who've got potential, but they're also at the right level as well. Joe, and I think that.
Developed enough, but not past the peak.
Yeah, of course. But there's still progress there to be made, but they're good enough to slot right in. Diaz and Upamecano stays United for life. Upamecano, I know, has been linked with he's been linked with City, he's been linked with United as well. And we have to bear in mind as well, City are going to be looking for another centre back this summer without a doubt. They've regretted not buying a centre back, so we're going to be competing with City for some of the top centre backs in the world as well, which is why I think Champions League football is crucial for us this season. How we get that, whether it's getting top four or winning the Europa League, I do not care, but I think top four is essential. I'm going to finish this by talking about our priorities this season. Do you think the FA Cup, obviously Europa League, top four, what is our priority this season? For me, it's top four by any means, whether that's by winning the Europa League. We should be trying to win everything as Manchester United, shouldn't we, surely, ladies? And I'll start with you, Nicole. What's your priority for this season?
Well, first of all, regardless of my priority, first of all, I think as Manchester United, you should be going for everything. You should be diving headfirst, like by a blessing, into everything. But obviously, I think Champions League football is like looking ahead is the most important. I don't care. I'm not saying I don't care if we don't win the Europa League. I'm saying I don't care how we do it, whether we do it the Europa League way again, whether we get top four. Sometimes, like we seen yesterday, it's not how you do it; it's just the getting there. But that's not an excuse as to say, oh, we shouldn't give 100%, because I think we should dive headfirst into everything. And we're on to the semis of the FA Cup now. We've got Europa coming up, and we've got like a good run of games, hopefully, on paper, if we can just, adapt to every game individually. And I think we should go for everything. I would be, I don't say happy, I would settle just to get Champions League, but I would be happy if we give it a good go of everything, really.
If we can qualify for the Champions League and win a trophy alongside doing that, then for me it's been a good season. I think, regardless of the middle bit of the other, other teams have dropped points. It's been a mixed bag of a season. I don't think we've been excellent this season. We've been far too inconsistent, but because other teams have been inconsistent as well, it's gave us a shot this season. And I think if you end up getting Champions League and a trophy, that's a good season all around for me. Meg, what do you think?
I'm really confused. There are some people in the chat, and that's fine, have an opinion, but I'd like to get more out of them as to why they think that. In terms of, I don't understand how you can just go and prioritise one thing, because what happens if that doesn't work? Because everyone will then say, well, you should have gone for something else. Well, that's dead easy to say you should have gone for something else if you're going to have priorities. As a footballer and as a football club, you go out to win. I don't care whether that's in the Premier League, in the FA Cup, in the Europa League. You don't go out to throw a game away. So for me, you can't just say, oh, we're going to prioritise this one chance. You're in 3 cups. You're into the semi-final of the FA Cup. So you're only 1 game away from the final. So you have to go out and win that game. You're in the Europa League. There's some tough teams left in that Europa League. Do not get me wrong at all. But you have to go out and purposely try to win games. And in the Premier League, you can't go out and not try and win because you've got a cup game coming up at the weekend. I feel like, okay, you're saying like, oh, we want to prioritise, but you have to go out and win to try and win at all costs. You don't go out to lose and say, well, if we lose this game and we rest these players, when you're 1 game away from the FA Cup final, and then go like, what happens in the Premier League if you lose?
Sorry, someone just said David Luiz would be a good centre back for United. No, definitely not. But yeah,
you're all right, mate.
Is obviously that have we got the quality to compete for everything, because you can't keep playing the same 11. We need to rotate. As you said yesterday, I think the right thing to do was rotate, and the players simply didn't step up to the plate. I think that's what happened yesterday, but Ollie's going to have to rotate. I think it's a case of, are the players good enough in terms of reserves to compete? But look, Zazie said it says he loves your optimism, Meg. You've got to be optimistic. I agree with Meg completely. We've got to go for everything. Whether it's realistic or not, who knows? But we've got to
What's the point? What's the point in supporting your team if you're going to, we're not going to do anything? I just don't understand that mentality. I'd rather be positive and be wrong than be negative and be right. And in the words of Louis van Gaal, we should go for it.
I completely agree. I think we've got to go for it. I also agree with the sense that maybe our reserves aren't good enough. But we've got to put trust in these players. They've got to look. They're definitely good players. All right, people are talking like the Sunday League players. They are good players. Like I say, that team we put out yesterday was definitely strong enough. With Lingard in there, with Mata in there, that was strong enough to beat Norwich yesterday. They just weren't up to it. But they haven't played for 3 months. Like we said about the team that played against Spurs, our strong team. We said, apart from Pogba, obviously he didn't start, but we said they hadn't played for 3 months. That's why they were sloppy. That's why they looked rusty. It was the same for the majority of those players who played yesterday. Yes, we know that most of them aren't good enough. A lot of them aren't good enough. We've said that, but I think we've got to understand what Ollie is working with here. He's got to use his squad, and if anything, it's a weapon for Ollie to say, "Look what happened today. Look, I've used my squad like I've got to use." It just shows the lack of quality he's got, and hopefully, it gives us a kick up the bum. What happened the other day with Liverpool? Hopefully, that gives the club a kick up the bum as well. We need to recruit players. We need to recruit the right players. And
what was that? They was coming to Old Trafford. I remember that. Yeah, they drove up to Old Trafford to leave the flags there. Apparently.
Really? Wow, they're that fixated on us. Come on. But yeah, I just think the gap is getting smaller. We've got to go for everything. It's just a question of whether the squad depth is good enough to go for everything. But regardless, whether it's good enough or not, like you say, Megan, like you said, Nicole, if you're in it to win it, and you've got to go all out and try and do that. I just hope that
someone's got to win it. So why can't it be? Obviously not the Premier League, but why can't it be us? The FA Cup. Someone's got to win it, and the teams that are left in there will have other things going on as well. So. Yeah, for me, you have to go out and win. You can't just gift someone the win because we were like, well, we don't want it.
So apparently we are slowly coming Arsenal. No,
I think Arsenal the wrong way round. I think Arsenal are where we were a few seasons ago. They are 2-3 seasons in, like behind us in their rebuild. They're going to have to go through a rebuild as we have been through it, and we are going. We're still going through it.
Them feelings. We understand.
I feel for Arsenal fans at the minute. I've said this because you're looking around and they've got a lot of players who, whether their head isn't in it or they're simply not good enough. There's an issue there, obviously, with Ozil as well, one of their best players not playing. A bit like us with Pogba, when Pogba wasn't playing and you're scratching your head thinking, like with Ozil is one of their better players. He's still not playing. I think they haven't got a lot of quality. They haven't got a lot of money, so do they need to sell Aubameyang, for example, to get the right players in? It's an awkward situation for Arsenal fans. I am on Claude's channel just after this, actually doing a watch along for the Arsenal game. Make sure you come across and watch that as well, because I'm definitely cheering Sheffield on, and I'm hoping that I can have a bit of banter with the Arsenal fans live. So come and check that out as well. But yeah, Arsenal are behind, definitely. I think Arsenal, like I say, if I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be really concerned right now. There's a real lack of quality there. They got a win the other day. Let's see if they can kick on from that. But I'm definitely enjoying the Arsenal banter, I can't lie. she's cheered me up. That's one thing I really missed in lockdown, is not having that banter with the Arsenal fans, because that's one thing that's been ongoing throughout the season, definitely. But yeah, we've got Brighton, obviously, on Tuesday. I'm going to ask you girls what your score predictions are for that one. I didn't tell you I was going to ask you that, but I am going to ask you that. What do you guys think? Are you feeling positive? We've been positive every week so far, haven't we? After that performance yesterday, though, that changed your mind. And I'll start with you, Meg. I'll let Nicole have a little bit of a think. She's scratching her chin there. Meg, what's your score prediction against Brighton?
I think we'll ring in the changes again. I think we'll kind of revert back to where we were, the team playing against Sheffield. I think Martial will come back and start. And going back to that team and the way that they performed against Sheffield, if they can bring that again, I think we'll get 3 points. I'm going to go, I think they'll score, because I think Brighton, they dig deep. You've seen it against Arsenal. They've got something about them sometimes. So I am going to go for a 2-1.
2-1. Love that. Nicole, are you feeling confident?
Yeah, but I was feeling confident yesterday as well. That's why I was bang on the game before. I said 3-0, and I said Tony to prove some doubters wrong and negate to have a clean sheet. And then yesterday I was dead cocky, and I was like, yeah, we're going to win 4-0. What? And I was like, oh. So I'm going to be cautiously optimistic. I think they'll score, but I think we need to revert back to the best players, and I think I'm going to go 3-1. Why not?
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna say we're gonna keep a clean sheet. I'm gonna say 3-0 to United. I'm gonna go all out positive. I'm hoping Pogba and Bruno come back into it. I'm hoping we're not too fatigued as well after obviously what happened yesterday. But yeah, I think we've got enough quality going forwards to cause them trouble. Maupay, I think going forwards is difficult, but I'm hoping that Maguire kind of pins himself on him. I think he's got enough about him to deal with him. Yeah, I'm gonna go positive and say 3-0 win. Gus said there that Rashford doesn't look fit. I think that Rashford looked sloppy again yesterday when he came on, but I think give him time, he will get there. He had that one decent shot in extra time. It was a good save by the keeper. I think he will get there. He's looking a bit rusty at the moment, but I think again, get behind the players. They've been out for 3 months, and they support them. It's hard coming back into it. It really is. Football Crew Show says, loving the retro shirt, ladies. What's your favourite shirt that you own? It's hard, isn't it?
Do you know what I found the other day? Do you know what I found the other day? You remember the gold and the white reversible one? I have to get it back down out the loft. I've got it in the loft. I absolutely loved that shirt. I still look at it and think that is my childhood. When I got that, I cannot tell you how happy I was. I think I've got a picture. I think I put it on Twitter ages ago of me getting that shirt. You should have seen my face. So probably for a sentimental reason, I absolutely love that gold shirt.
That was a nice shirt, to be fair. Nicole, I know you got a bit of a collection as well. What's your favourite shirt?
I'm quite indecisive, but I quite like, and this is why I've been crying out for one for a bit. I quite like a black shirt, so I love, like the Vodafone one.
Yes.
And a bit like Meg, like Meg, it's very sentimental. When I don't know, I think for everyone individually, there's that one shirt that takes you back to a specific era and takes you back to your childhood or a photo. Yeah. So I love that. But it's hard to pick. It's like picking between your kids, isn't it?
There's loads, isn't there? There's other ones as well. But like for like memory wise, I love the gold shirt. Nostalgia. I love the white shirts as well. I also love the blue shirts.
I love the blue shirt.
I think the blue shirts look so fresh and clean. But Flora should put the black away kits. Away kits are always so black good as well. Nice. But then I've got, you go back to the 1999 shirt, and I've got a picture of my family all dressed in the shirts, and I was only like 7. So I look at that and I just love the shirt because it brings back so many good memories as well.
It's hard, isn't it? Like, I'd say looks-wise, I'd say this is my favourite shirt. This shirt, in terms of how it looks, I'd say this one. But like you say, you get memories with certain shirts, don't you? And it's like, obviously, the treble-winning shirt, special shirt. I also love the standard red Vodafone shirt as well, because growing up I remember I always wear that shirt. It's just, there's so many shirts, but I think in terms of look and being the one that I wear the most now, I'd have to say this one, definitely.
I love wearing that one.
I love everything about it. But I agree as well, I think the black kits are nice. What I will say is every single Chevrolet kit that we have had, I haven't liked it. I really hate the big gold Chevrolet. Like,
that logo.
I still
Make
get
it
them.
Black.
I'll still buy them, of course, but I think that gold logo is just horrible. It's black, white, any other colour, but gold just doesn't. It clashes with most kits. I think it looked best on the kind of snake printed kit we had, just because it kind of merged in terms of colour. It blended in a bit more, but I think that colour is just wrong. Abel says, before I forget, which chocolate would be described as United? We will beat Brighton, fingers crossed. We always go off topic about food or something, don't we? Oh, we said this the other day. I'm Soph and Meg show. We were trying to compare what chocolate we'd say United are. So like, I forgot what I even went with. Was it Bueno or something then?
I think you went for Bueno. I went for the Willy Wonka ones. Not the Willy Wonka one. The Marvelous Creations.
Yes, that's it. But I always want to go over a chocolate that's consistently one that I enjoy and I go to. Like United, I always enjoy, obviously. So a consistent one for me would probably be a Bueno, but a good old dairy milk for me, you just can't beat it. Oreo dairy milk as well. Banging. Yeah, Flawless was in the chat last time actually when we were doing this chocolate conversation. It's a bit random. Well, Nicole, if you could compare a chocolate to Manchester United Football Club, what chocolate would it be? God.
I would say, right, there's two things. I'd ever say a Twix, because there's a left side and the right side, and even though they look the same, on the adverts are very different, like do you want a left or a right side, and I think we've seen that yesterday. But also we like a box of chocolates, because sometimes you'll have a chocolate and it'll be exciting and you'll be like, oh, that's gorgeous, and other times you'll get one and you'll be like, what is that?
So basically, I think this is actually a good comparison. A bag of Rebels. You don't know what you're going to get. You never know what you're going to get. And sometimes,
like
yesterday was definitely the coffee. The coffee one. Nah, not feeling, no.
Does anyone like the coffee ones?
Oh. No.
You know what, I'll eat it, but it's definitely my least favourite one.
What's your favourite?
I'm one of those ones that nibble the chocolate off and then see if it's coffee, and if it is, just spit that one back out.
No, you've got to go all out for it. You've got to do the Rebel game where you throw a chocolate, catch it, and you just eat it. You don't know what it is. Yeah, so I like that comparison. A bag of Rebels, you don't know what you're going to get. United never won at the Amex. That ends 3-1. I just think that with Bruno coming in, Pogba, I think we've got too much from going forward. But I love that we're comparing United chocolate bars. Like, I'm going to eat some Rebels now.
On that chocolate topic, we spoke
about... No pun intended.
we stop it. We spoke about a white Oreo. I went and got one. And only have I had one, I've now had 3.
I don't like white Twixes though.
What?
I don't like them.
Get her off.
I'm going to say, so you'll just see Nicole's box close.
Toodles.
No,
I'm an original kind of girl. I like the original. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, United for Life is saying here that it dislikes.
I haven't tried the Oreos.
It is nice. It's good.
I might like that.
Yeah, it's worth a try, definitely. But as always, girls, we've got a bit off topic, but thank you so much for coming on the show. I really do appreciate it. It's been a good one today, hasn't it? I've enjoyed doing that. Considering the performance yesterday, I think we've had a bit of a laugh and focus on the positives, and that's what I like about hairdryer treatment. Always focus on the positives. But Nicole, if you'd like to tell people where they can find you on social media.
Which hand is it? Right there. Instagram and Twitter, and then all my blog posts are on my pinned tweet even, or I'll link it in my bio as well. Brilliant. Thank you, Nicole. And then Meg, if you let people know where they can find you.
You can find me here at Meg Wilts. You can also find me on hairdryer treatment. I had to raise the shoulder when Nicole was talking to work out which arm it is. So yeah, and I will be doing a Q&A on hairdryer treatment potentially this week. So I will put a tweet out. You can shoot me some quick fire questions or ones that might need a bit more explaining. Whether it's a favourite chocolate bar or not, I don't mind. So yeah, find me on Meg Wilts. I'll drop a tweet out to get questions in, and you'll see me on hairdryer treatment this week.
Love that. Thank you. And as always, girls, thank you for coming on. I really do appreciate it. If you are new to hairdryer treatment, please do hit that sub button for more random topics as well as football that we like to talk about on this channel. But as always, girls, absolute pleasure to have you on. Have a lovely rest of your weekend. If you are interested, come and find me on Claude's channel just after this, where I'll be doing a watch along. Come on, Sheffield United today. But yeah, guys, we move on. Brighton on Tuesday. Fingers crossed for the win. And yeah, I'm going for a clean sheet. 3-0. We've all gone for a win. Let us know what your predictions are as well in the comments. Take care, guys. Have a good one.